Yeah, Story File is Thursday night at Art Sheriff's, the first Thursday of every month at Art Sheriff. And you're welcome to come down, and some of you performers, I'd love to have you come and perform. I don't have an open mic, but if I get acquainted with you, we'll get you on the program sooner or later. We have about 7 or 8 to 9 performers a night, and it's pretty good. It's a lot of fun. We have music, theater, and storytelling, poetry and storytelling. So plenty of room for everybody to come. And we have some wonderful, nice, eclectic evenings. So that sketch just kind of reminded me of the other side of the coin. We got a lot of people in this country that kind of think like this. Why should rich people like us have to pay for poor people like you? You people seem to have the idea that just because we have all the money, we should have to pay for everything. We shouldn't have to pay for everything just because we have all the money. Any more than you should have to pay for everything if you had all the money, which you don't. So let's just get off of this trip and simply realize we're rich and we're not paying for your poverty. Why, even the Bible teaches that the poor ye shall have with you always. That's you. We're rich. Thank you. All right, I'm going to keep talking. I'm sitting in a back seat of a 1950 Hudson automobile, 1948, with my 2 brothers. Mom and Dad are in front. We're sitting at a railroad crossing, and a train is going by. And on that train, there are all kinds of men riding. Some of them standing up and walking across the top of the boxcars. If you look back through the boxcars, when the doors are open, you can see people inside the boxcars. And there's men sitting on the flat cars, their legs dangling off the side. Mom and Dad said they're hobos. But the men themselves call themselves stiffs. They're working stiffs. They were migrant workers, and that had been going on all the way since the early 1900s. Men riding the rails, following the crops, following the news of jobs. They'd hear about a job up in Spokane, 300 men needed. They'd take that last bit of pay they had, hop on a freight train and ride for days, get up there and only to find that the job, sure enough, you could work one day, but you had to pay to get the job. And then they fired you at the end of the day and hired somebody else, because then they had to pay again. And that was the way the jobbers made their money. Well, the men finally woke up to this and started a union, and it became known as the Wobblies. And there in Spokane, the treasurer of the Wobblies was a fellow by the name of Joe Hill, who was also a musician. And he wrote lots of songs about labor and about working people. He was a Norwegian fellow. And his song, the Little Red Songbook, and the songs he wrote in it, and a lot of other people too, spread all across the United States and helped to spark a labor movement among people from as many as 24 different nationalities and dialects in this country back in the early 1900s. In Massachusetts, in the singing demonstrations there in the garment industry in Lawrence, Massachusetts, these 24 different languages would all sing the same song out of the Little Red Book. And that was compiled and inspired by Joe Hill. I dreamed I saw Joe Hill last night, alive as you and me. Says I, but Joe, you're 10 years dead. I never died, says he. I never died, says he. In Salt Lake Joe, says I to him standing by my bed. They framed Joe on a murder charge, says Joe, but I ain't dead, says Joe, but I ain't dead. The copper bosses killed you, Joe. They shot you, Joe, says I. Takes more than guns to kill a man, says Joe. I didn't die, says Joe. I didn't die. Joe Hill ain't dead, he says to me, him smiling with those eyes. What they forgot to kill, says Joe, went on to organize, went on to organize. From San Diego up to Maine, in every Walmart, McDonald's, mine, or mill, where working folks are out on strike, it's there you'll find Joe Hill. It's there you'll find Joe Hill. I dreamed I saw Joe Hill last night, alive as you and me. Says I to Joe, you're 10 years dead. I